narrative. Young, dumb American, arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting a fool, this embarrassing, is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defiant, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. Hit every bar, even though my bar's been the hardest. The scars on my face, and I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeves. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. I can show you where my...
The type of guy that would ride with the breeze. I'm higher than most people. I'm cold and icicle freeze. I'm liking to Mike Tyson. I'm a bison, a beast. I'm hot like Jamaica, like right by the beach. My pops is from a spot where they're fighting for peace. 8 years old out there watching people fight in the streets. All these sirens only make the violence increase. Yeah, we're still not loving police. It's that bright young American, nice, dumb, arrogant, tight on a mic, but he might need a therapist. Heart full of kerosene, head full of fairy tales. Said that you're my homie, you don't know me, but I know you very well. Roll back on some West Coast shit. This whole track is wetter than your dress code kiss. About to hit the track, running on some retrofit. It gets so lit, I guess so, bitch, now let's go.
I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeves. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will...
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is? It's Tuesday, October 3rd. A little sports nonsense and whiskey time. Cheers, my guy. How you doing this evening?
Whiskey time. Ooh, gotta let that thin out a little bit. Ooh.
Welcome, everyone.
While that's thinning out, celebrating the Broncos win with a little Broncos Breckenridge vodka.
And so the whiskey, you went vodka, eh?
Vodka with a little seltzer poured in. You know, something that's just, you know, it's so good on when it touches my lips.
Okay. Excellent.
While I wait for the whiskey to thin out a little bit. Buffalo
Terrible.
Trace is
Terrible.
Buffalo Trace is fine once it kind of thins for me a little bit, but right at the front, man, it is not my favorite.
You're not a fan? Not a fan, eh?
I mean, no, I like it after it's thinned out a little bit, but you know,
Get a little more room here.
maybe I'm a little bit of a pussy. I don't know. Maybe. You never know.
I mean, I think Buffalo Trace is all right.
I run out of Four Roses. Picked up some Buffalo Trace. I need to go get some Four Roses. I did have a friend of mine. They found the pineapple Buchanan Scotch at one of the liquor stores. I have to go get it. I just haven't had a chance to run over and grab it. But
Better grab that. That stuff is delicious.
bro, it is. And when you mix it with a little like, you know, we have a soda stream. I just make some soda water and pour a little bit of that in with the soda water. It is refreshing.
Sure. Absolutely. Definitely. I like it. You'll like this. So my parents just got back. They got home and then immediately turned around and came to visit us, but they just got back from doing the whiskey bourbon tour in Kentucky. And came back with some prime select stock straight from the distilleries.
Okay.
And one of those being Four Roses. And I got a single barrel that it's only that barrel that was bottled and then given out to sell.
Ooh,
so
okay.
However many bottles that barrel produced is what that batch was. So I'm excited to open it. I'm not going to do it just yet, but
that sounds like
it's going to be hard not to dip into.
Come watch a Sunday night football game and let's have some whiskey, and that's what that sounds like.
Yeah, it's going to have to be something like that. It needs to be shared for sure. So we'll see how that goes, but I am excited to taste that. My mom and dad said that they had a lot of delicious tastings while they were along the road of the tour. So definitely on my bucket list. Will be cool to do at some point in time. Big E, no. We're only a quarter of the way through the season. Baker's played okay. I didn't say he'd be terrible. I just didn't say he'd be good or great. I think he's been okay. We'll see. What are they? 2-2, 1-3. It's not like
they're 3-1, bro.
The Bucks are 3-1. Oh, that's hilarious. I mean, they do play in the NFC South, which is helpful.
Oh, Biggie's keeping receipts. I love it.
Ooh. Well, I'll have to eat crow about that at this point because that is definitely. I will say Baker is playing better than Kenny Pickett right now. I will eat crow about that.
To be fair, Baker Mayfield absolutely has better offensive talent around him than Kenny Pickett does. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are way better than. Look, Deontay Johnson when he's out there is nice. Pickens is nice. They're not on Mike Evans and Godwin.
I'm not going to say they are by any means. I'd say Baker is a better O-line, obviously a better offensive coordinator because Canada has no idea what he's doing in Pittsburgh. So he's not doing Pickett any favors. But based on what I saw in preseason, I thought Pickett was ready to take the next step, and I thought he would have more success than Baker would. Wrong about that. So, okay, my bad.
Let's be honest. We get things wrong sometimes. It happens. As are we sports talking heads? I would say we can claim that, right?
Sure.
I mean, maybe not professionally by any means, but at least we get out there and we share our takes with the world to criticize.
Yeah, we're professional. We're just not getting. We're just not getting the paychecks on a regular basis like we should, if you will.
Sometimes you're going to be wrong. It happens.
Yeah, that's all right. Sure, Big E. I'll eat a little bit of crow right that 4 games into the season on Kenny Pickett and Baker.
I think you can eat crow on that one. I think that will withstand the season.
I was wrong.
I love that. I need to go back and every time you say that, just record it and play it as a ringtone for myself. I was wrong. I said it, but I was wrong. Throw a rap on there. Be nice.
I mean, you just like hearing it because it happens so far and few between that when it does happen,
it happens quite often, just not enough.
You feel a little bit better about yourself that I'm human. I did get something wrong. That's where that's coming. I get it. It's okay. I understand.
I take what I can get, Caleb. I take what I can get. Let's just talk some sports, man. I didn't have anything happen over the weekend. It's kind of laid back weekend, so let's chop it up, man. Where do we want to start?
Let's just start with baseball. Let's just jump into something we don't really talk about a whole lot, and let's just look. Here we go. I got a bracket pulled up. We can discuss a little bit. We won't spend a ton of time because look, we're not going to claim to be like the best baseball experts per se. Okay. But we know a little bit about a little bit.
Let me get out ahead of this. I do not like the wild card round in baseball.
Why?
Because I don't like isn't it just best of 3? Or is it best of 5? I think it's best of 3.
Thought it was 5, but actually, now that you say 3, I think you're right.
Google save me. MLB wild card format. Best of 3.
Yep, it sure is.
Hate that. I hate it.
Yeah, that is.
I don't. If every other series has to be decided by 7 games, why doesn't the first series have to? Because I think it takes away. Typically, the better team does win over a 7-game series. Like it does usually even out. Now, again, you can have teams that are on a streak, like the Rockies back in 07 or whatever year it was. Like you just like there's that happens when teams get hot. I just don't like this best of 3. I just don't. If you play 2 bad games, you're done. Like it. I don't like that. So.
I mean, that's what baseball kind of is, though. Is it's like best of 3, best of 4 game series all season long, for the most part.
Right.
Sometimes you'll just get a double. Sometimes you might get something different than that. But for the most part, it seems to be like a 3 or 4 game series during the week or through the weekend, and so that seems pretty normal to me. When they first started doing it, it just kind of always made sense. I understand where you're coming from, though. Like, if you're going to let everything else be decided by something, you should keep that consistent. And I'm all about that at the same time. So, half dozen the other for me. I'm not hating on one, but I understand where you're coming from.
At the end of the day, what is it? It's more games to sell tickets to. It's more TV money, more advertising money. I mean, not if you're the Rangers and the Rays, but for other teams, that it would be.
Sure. Yeah. You need people to actually show up for, the playoffs, which is odd that you don't have fans show up for the playoffs, but okay. I think with the way it's set up right now, I mean, because remember, it used to be just, no wild card round. 4 teams got in. You'd have the divisional round and then the championship series. So baseball used to be super brutal because that 162 game season actually meant something.
Right.
Like a lot, because only 4 teams. Now it's 6. So they're expanding in the right direction. I do think it creates better baseball as well. I think the whole reason for the 3-game series is partly what I was talking about, in the fact that that's kind of what they do all season anyways, is these little mini 3-game series. But I also believe it's trying to keep it within October. I don't think they really like to go into November if they don't have to. So I think it's partly to keep it a little bit shorter and keep it in October if at all possible, and then go from there. So, it's hard to say. But with that being said, on the AL side, in the wild card, we've got the Jays versus the Twins. Twins won game 1, so they are up 1-0. Then you've got the Rangers and the Rays. Texas won game 1, so they're up 1-0. The winner of the Blue Jays and the Twins will face the Astros. And the winner of the Rangers and the Rays will face the Orioles.
Another tough out this year.
So going into that, I think Houston advances pretty easily no matter who they play. Personally, that's just how I feel. I think whether it's Minnesota or the Jays, Houston just kind of cruises into the ALCS.
Right. I'd agree with that.
I think Tampa will come back. I think the Rays will win the series. I think they can go knock off 2 straight real quick.
I don't.
Okay.
No, they just haven't played the same baseball since Franco got suspended.
It has been different. There is no doubt about that. It has been different.
I think if this season went another 2 weeks or so, I don't know if they make the playoffs. Because they were they were not playing good ball.
They were kind of hanging on a little bit there.
Because they started out 20-5 or something stupid. They went on a run to start the season, which really gave them a pretty good, lead.
Yeah.
And they just kind of won enough to keep it.
That's true. All right, that's fair. So you think Texas advances? Do you feel like Baltimore can kind of cruise into the ALCS regardless then too, or do you feel like Rangers give them a fight?
I think Rangers can put up a fight, but yeah, Baltimore's been a really good team pretty much throughout the season. They won over 100 games. I mean, that means you're consistently, playing really good baseball. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, I would, if I was putting money on it, I would definitely put Astros and Orioles in the ALCS. I don't see, and I think if it was flopped, if the Twins and Blue Jays were playing the Orioles, I don't see either team beating the Orioles. And I don't see the Rangers or the Rays beating the Astros if it was flipped. So I just feel like those two teams are going to make it. And it's funny. I think it's pretty much the same for the National League. I don't see, barring, team losing a couple easy games they should win. I don't see any of the National League teams overtaking the Dodgers and the Braves. So very similar.
All right, so let's move over there. So you got Houston and Baltimore, fairly solid in the ALCS. I don't disagree with that at all. On the NL side, you've got Arizona and Milwaukee playing right now. And when I got walked the out, is it still tied at 4? I could pull up the score, but I'm just.
It's 4-3 Diamondbacks.
Oh, 4-3 Diamondbacks. Okay. All right. And then you've got the Florida Marlins and the Phillies.
Phillies are up 3-0, bottom of the 6th.
And Marlins, then you got those matchups facing the Dodgers and the Braves.
It is cool seeing the Marlins in the playoffs for like the first time. And
well, here's the thing. So listen to this. Here's a theory. The Braves and Dodgers is going to be an epic 7-game NLCS, right? That's just kind of what we both believe. I'm with you there. However, every so often, out of nowhere, the Marlins win a World Series and then sell their entire team off. Now, that's what was it Jeff Loria who used to own the team?
I'm not quite sure. I do remember that is correct. I don't think this team is at that point.
No, but a lot of people didn't think those other teams were either. So I'm just saying, like, they're kind of in that position again where they could come out of nowhere. So I'm just saying, even if they lose to the Phillies tonight, don't count them out. They could have a little bit of magic still there. So just keep an eye on that. But probably Dodgers, Braves. I'm with you there. So Dodgers, Braves, Astros, Orioles. Who do you have in the World Series? Where are we going?
It's going to be the Braves and the Astros. I'm biased. Braves are my team, so Braves are going.
So I like the Braves. I think they're probably the best team in all of baseball, honestly. But this feels like it's setting up to be Astros, Dodgers.
We've seen that too many times. We don't need to see that anymore.
Well, and it feels like the Dodgers are going to go home crying again.
That's why I don't think they beat the Braves.
We'll see.
I know they took the 2 seed, but they've played some up and down baseball throughout the season too. Like, they weren't dominant. Every time I was paying attention to them, they would lose. And it's like, wait, I thought these guys were awesome. Like, I don't know. But
well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but they won 100 games. Right? So it's like, it does feel like they had a down year, but they still won 100 games. So it's not that down of a year. You know what I mean? It'll be interesting to see how it happens. But I just have a feeling like the Dodgers are waiting for their pitching staff continuously to get like healthy and back. The Braves feel like they're kind of doing the same thing. So then it kind of comes down to the bats. The Braves bats are slightly better, but the Dodgers bats have more playoff experience in those big moments. So it kind of evens itself back out. So that's why I say it just kind of feels like maybe the Dodgers can make it but then they got lose to the Astros and they can't complain about cheating this time. Or maybe they will. Maybe there'll be a new scandal that pops up if they lose to the Astros. Who knows? But it feels like they get their chance to redeem that World Series, and then, they lose. They lose. So we'll see.
Oh, Biggie. Yeah. Biggie, I'll tell you, baseball.
Definitely Eric Davis, Biggie. Definitely Eric Davis.
I'm not a big baseball guy. It's kind of fun to watch the highlights. I won't watch a game until the playoffs. The intensity, every moment matters. Whereas in a long 162 game season, man, you got guys, not playing to rest. NBA does the same thing, but I'm just, 162 games is a lot of damn games.
Sure it is. Sure it is.
It's too long. It's too long to keep my attention. So I am not that baseball guy. And again, big fat kid. I played baseball until about 8th grade, and after that, I could not see a fastball once it got over 75. Once it goes over 75, my eyesight, I usually have glasses, my eyesight was not good enough to hit after that. I was out. I was done. So
Okay. Well,
so that's where, if you play baseball as a kid, probably have a little bit more of an appreciation and love it. I did play till about 8th grade, and then I was out. After that, playing it's fun. Playing softball is great. Watching it, regular season baseball is one of the worst things to watch. Give me some tennis.
man.
The only thing worse than watching regular season baseball is probably golf.
I knew you were going to say golf.
Golf's boring as hell to watch, bro. It really is. It really is. I've tried.
Well, you don't play golf, so you don't really understand. You don't know the feeling of what they're doing, or that idea of how difficult it truly is. And not you don't understand that it's not difficult. I know you do, but if you don't play something, you don't necessarily have an appreciation for it, which makes it even less enjoyable. Is that fair?
That's true. I've watched it. I don't have a great affiliation for NASCAR either. I see dudes driving 300 laps in a circle, and I'm like, okay, big deal. Now F1, much more appreciation for F1, right? Because they've got those sharp turns, and the tracks are different.
Yeah, but they don't really pass each other per se. Pole position is pretty much set, and then that's pretty much the finishing order for the most part. So yeah, I like both of them, but I'm just saying both of them you can say have their drawbacks and their perks.
The best, I really do enjoy the Subaru off-roading
Rally.
one.
Yeah,
Rally. Yeah, those are cool. Those are cool.
Crazy.
So, but yeah.
Rally is the fact that they have somebody sitting in the seat next to them, basically calling out the turn and the degree of difficulty of the turn for the most part, and they're just driving by that and distance that's being shouted out to them, and they're just pedal to the metal, doing these little jumps where they're flying 120 feet distance at 85, 90 miles an hour through the forest, where you literally only have a 20-foot wide area that you can drive on safely. It's absurd. That stuff just blows my mind. And then the guys that do the Pikes Peak Hill climb, a buck 20 up Pikes Peak, no guardrails, no nothing to save you if you slip off the road. You're done.
Oh, that would be funny. That would be funny, Benny. No, his wife is already relaxing.
Car's right next to me. It's right here. Can't you see? There's very vague, but that is the tail light. That is.
I mean, yeah, but she's not pulling in the garage or nothing.
Nah, car's already in the garage.
I don't have to worry about my wife talking shit, which she's known to do on the podcast because she's in Vegas. So.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So, baseball, we'll see. I would love to see Braves and Orioles. That's what I'm pulling for. But every time I pull for something like that, it usually turns out to be something ridiculous. And I'm a childhood Braves fan and a childhood Orioles fan because of Cal Ripken and TBS.
Overrated. Cal Ripken, overrated.
Oh, yuck, Pinky. Yuck.
Overrated.
Dude, come on. Ridiculous.
Overrated.
No way.
Talented
dude.
He's overrated, bro. He's an Iron Man, but he's overrated.
Dude, he played every game for how long and still had a career. It was like he had a high batting average considering he played every single game. I'm going to look it up. Hang on. I'm going to look it up.
I want to
say it was like 290.
I'll take my boy like Ozzie Smith. I'll take
Ozzie was good. The
I'll
Wizard
take
was
George
good.
Brett over him. I'll definitely take Tony Gwynn over him.
Okay, but you're talking different positions now.
A little bit, but they're guys of the same era. He is so overrated. It's not even funny.
What makes you believe he's overrated?
He's just overrated, bro. He never played that well except for like 3 seasons. He played a lot of seasons. He played a lot of games, but not many of them were very impactful.
Man, that doesn't sound correct, Pinky. Not very impactful.
There's a lot of people that agree with me on that, Caleb, that he's overrated. So there's some people that have that, like he's amazing and we love him. Awesome to you. I didn't see that. I thought he was highly overrated during his time.
All right, so here's the deal. Shortstop most of his career. Wasn't the best here, so it's a little bit lower than I thought it was, but not by much. 276 career hitter. He had over 3,100 hits. He had over 400 home runs. Those are good numbers, dude.
I mean, how many seasons did he play?
Let's see here. 21.
That's a pretty damn long career, my friend.
And out of those 21, the first 18, he didn't miss a game and put up those numbers. I'm not saying he's the best shortstop of all time. I think he's definitely a Hall of Famer, though. So I don't know if maybe that's where people get the overrated from.
I didn't say he wasn't a Hall of Famer. I just said he's kind of overrated.
Well, I'm saying maybe that's why people say he's overrated, though, because people try to claim him as the best shortstop ever. And that's not the case. I'm not going to claim that. But I thought he was really good. Trying to see how many Gold Gloves he might have won. Because that would say a little bit about his prime. He won 2 Gold Gloves. 19-time All-Star. 2-time MVP. That's pretty solid. I wouldn't call that overrated.
The way that people talk about him and remember him, they definitely have created this narrative that he's amazing and he's not.
I mean, that kind of says amazing to me. I don't know. Best shortstop ever? No. Really damn good? Yeah.
Is he like Roman Reigns overrated? Ooh.
Definitely not. No way. There's no way. Damn, Pinky. The fact that you're even thinking about this is brutal. It's just not the case.
That's a good question, though. I feel like that's a good question.
I like the comparison. I like the thought process there for sure.
Because Roman Reigns is really overrated. Roman Reigns is more overrated than Cal Ripken. We can agree on that.
Okay, good. Cheers.
We can agree on that.
Cheers.
All right. So leaving baseball behind. I don't think there was a lot of college football.
Wait. Before football, hang on. I told everybody to watch the Ryder Cup. I told them it would be exciting. It was definitely super exciting if you were rooting for Europe. America walked in there and wet noodled it, we'll say. It was not good. Really bad showing. Hard to say what the issues were. Maybe not a lot of team camaraderie. Maybe guys just had a bad weekend. I don't know, but they got smoked by Europe. Absolutely smoked.
DraftKings knew that was going to happen because they put out a double your money odds on USA winning the Ryder Cup. And they got crazy killed, man. It wasn't fun.
Not close. Europe came out. I mean, granted, it was in Europe, so that's always nice to be at home with your crowd. But they came out and they hit some shots that you're just like, damn, like you're not coming back from this. And then the USA shot was like a really bad shot where you're like, damn, you're not coming back from this. So you were saying the same thing about both teams, just for very different reasons.
We're gonna have to get to some of these fantasy questions. We've already had a couple fantasy questions.
I'm keeping track. Don't worry, I'm keeping track of them.
Sure
We'll come back to them when we get to the football.
I've definitely got answers.
Yeah, obviously, that's what we do. They'll probably be wrong, since Big E's keeping receipts. They'll probably be horribly wrong, but we'll see what happens. So Ryder Cup, USA,
keep us on it.
Not good. 2 years from now, it's at Bethpage Black up in New York. I think it's Bethpage Black. It'll be on home turf, so we'll see if they can redeem themselves.
Right. We appreciate that, Big.
We appreciate that. So that's where we're at with Ryder Cup. The end. That's all I got right now. I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff, but I know you don't really want to talk golf, so I'm not going to go into all the awesomeness that it was. But it was a bummer for USA fans for sure.
So I watched college football. I watched the CU USC game. I watched the Michigan-Nebraska game.
Why'd you watch that game?
And then I followed that by I went to the Air Force game against San Diego State.
Nice.
And got won tickets from work. Dude, they were third row seats, bro.
I saw that. Was nice little down there at the bottom of that bowl on that cement wall that they got going around the stadium. Yeah. Old school. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff.
It was a great evening. It was almost hoodie. I brought a hoodie with me. I had it on for a little bit, and then I was like, nope, it's still too warm for it, but it was close.
Now think about this. Kind of side note. There are teams that say they can't do grass fields, and yet the Air Force Academy is able to do a grass field in 68, roughly 100 feet elevation, all the way through the winter. Somehow they're able to maintain a grass field. So just saying, if the Air Force Academy can do it here in Colorado Springs.
And it's primo. Too, like
their field always looks so nice.
Their field looks better than the Broncos field most of the time.
It always looks good. It is crazy how good that field always looks. Like that grounds crew has like a ton of respect for what they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean their stadium's kind of old, outdated, but good atmosphere. kicked the shit out of them, man. It was
they played
well. It was so funny that when you're down that low, Air Force runs the ball a lot. You can't see where the ball is because everything's kind of bunched together. You can't quite see it. They ended up getting to a point where they literally 2 straight series, they just ran, and then the quarterback just drops back like 3 steps. Seam route is wide open. He hits it. Guy's gone for 50-yard touchdown. Before we knew it, it's 42-10 in the third. And my dad, he has some issues walking. We usually will leave early to make sure there's not people like walking right on top of him. So we left early, bro. We were on to our car. Before we even got to the car, it was 49-10.
Yeah. They were cruising. A lot of cool tradition with that too. The band before the game, sitting in that tunnel playing before they come out onto the field.
The fighter jets.
Yeah, the jets or sometimes the bombers flying over the stadium right before kickoff.
The bomber, but they had 2 fighter jets, and one of them, came right down, and then boom.
Yeah.
And he was just in a full climb, and it was like, oh. Like,
I love when they do that because they do it right at the 50. Like, it's crazy the precision they have to be able to do that. We had the B-52 was in town and just happened to be at the game that they did a flyover with the B-52, and it felt like it covered the entire stadium, and that you could have just reached up and touched it. It was insane. Whole thing shook. Absolutely crazy.
And it's almost silent too.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying after it passed over, you know what I mean? That jet stream is a mother.
So that was good.
Then the cadets coming on the field and doing the push-ups for every point scored. So a lot of cool traditions at the Air Force games. Those are always fun.
I'm going to say I know the outcome was not great. I still felt like there was good fight defensively from Nebraska. You could see it. They just don't have the guys. Linebackers are good. Their corners will come up and tackle, but they do not have the D linemen to even like sniff that Michigan O-line. Like, and it was very evident. Like, Michigan was literally like, we can do whatever we want.
Guys are it definitely feels like guys are in position to be successful this year. They're just not talented enough to be successful. Is as compared to years past, it felt like there was some talent there at times, but they were just always in the wrong place. Like, that's just kind of what it felt like. And so
against a top team like Michigan, like, the disparity on offense was very evident.
Well, let's be honest. I think Michigan has the best backfield in the country with Edwards and Corum. I think Edwards might actually be the best back in the country, and he's kind of considered the backup to Corum. Right. So we'll see. Biggie, who are you talking about? Marshall.
Like the college Marshall, or like a running back with the last name of Marshall? Because I don't know that guy. I know some of the more popular ones. Benson down in Florida State's been pretty hot. The kid for USC is pretty damn good. Blake Corum is awesome. He's not quite got his legs back from the injury yet. He's getting there.
Trying to think of the guy's name down at Ole Miss.
Oh yeah, he's good too.
Shoot, and then you got
that Kentucky running back was looking great this week.
Kentucky's looking pretty good. Then you got Travion Henderson out of OSU.
He's good.
Penn State's got a couple good ones, honestly.
I mean, there's always good running backs out there. Like,
yeah, Biggie, I can't say I've seen the Marshall running back. I'm not going to even lie.
I'll have to look him up.
Been on I'll have to pay a little more attention, but can't say he's on my radar at this point just yet. So
I was impressed with JJ McCarthy. Michigan.
Really? Dude, I keep watching this guy, waiting for him to show me something that says he's a generational talent,
So,
like everybody
no,
keeps talking
he's
about.
not that level. He's not that level. To me, like I feel like you move him into the NFL, and he could be the new Andy Dalton line. Like he'll play confident. If the team is good around him, he can win you games. But I don't see him being like that elite.
I mean, dude, from what I see, honestly, and I'm not trying to be mean about this because I kind of like his game. I don't think he's great, but he's serviceable. But to me, he's almost like a poor man's Ryan Tannehill. Like, I just haven't seen anything from J.J. McCarthy where I'm like, yeah, that guy's like Heisman candidate worthy. He's going to be able to be super successful at the next level. Like, I just don't see it. When you're talking about the top quarterbacks in college football, that is not a name that comes up for me.
I see there's some talent there, and maybe it's just Michigan, Harbaugh, not letting him play a little bit more free. I mean, they play a pretty vanilla offense. Maybe there's a little bit to that, but
maybe
we'll see. I mean, he's going to be at the next level. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, he'll definitely get his opportunity.
We had USC and Colorado. I'm tired of these 10 a.m. Colorado games. We need to get that out of here. You get that out of here. But that was Caleb Williams is that dude, bro.
He sure looked good.
When he had that one where they flushed him out of the pocket, he's running left. It was like their first or second touchdown. And he just doesn't really even stop, but just kind of flings it after he's got all his momentum going left, and then he flings it down the field and the guy's wide open. He does not have the arm that Patrick Mahomes has, but he can make a lot of those different angle throws that Mahomes does.
He definitely doesn't lack arm strength by any means.
No,
it's just not going to be considered maybe the best in the league, is what you're saying.
Like, Mahomes can run back 15 yards and then just chuck it like 60 yards, no problem.
Yeah,
He doesn't have quite
that. But he's no Mac Jones, right? I mean, he's no. He's no.
No, Caleb is that dude. And I try to watch a lot of his games since he's getting the hype. The hype is totally justified. Like, he moves, he throws the ball from different angles, he can run, he makes good decisions. Like, if you have the number one pick, like, I feel like you're gonna dump your quarterback. There's only like 5 guys in the league right now that you don't drop for Caleb Williams.
I don't know about only 5.
I think you keep Mahomes, obviously.
Right, obviously Mahomes, Hurts.
I feel like you keep Josh Allen.
I
know Burrow's not having a great year, but I still think Burrow's that dude.
Burrow.
If Tua's healthy, I feel like Tua's in that conversation.
Tua, so that's 5. Herbert, would you put Herbert in that conversation?
He kind of chokes, but yeah. I mean, physically, Herbert.
Okay.
Maybe Hurts. Maybe you're happy with Hurts and you don't want to move off.
I already said Hurts, so we've got 6 right now.
Okay. I mean, Lamar is probably 7 fantasy-wise. I kind of feel like I'd take Caleb over Lamar.
I personally would say you keep Lamar. You just need to give him some weapons like everybody else has, and it'd be a different story. Instead, they keep giving him retread.
He's in what, year 5 or 6 of his NFL life. He does run quite a bit. He's taking quite a bit of hits. There's wear and tear there. Maybe you hit the reset button, right?
I mean, I could kind of understand that. Let's say Lamar though for now, so that's 7. I mean, God dang. Trevor Lawrence, I think you could probably put in there. I don't think the Jags would take Caleb Williams over Trevor Lawrence.
I would take Caleb Williams over Trevor Lawrence in a heartbeat. and wouldn't even have to think about it. Trevor Lawrence, he played well last year. He has not played great. I have watched a lot of Jags games this year.
Okay.
He has not played well.
Okay, so still at 7.
I can't put my finger on it, but he is not going to reach the elite category.
Interesting.
Like prime Deshaun Watson is way better than Trevor Lawrence will ever be.
Oh.
And you know, I still have my reservations on Watson.
You do. Okay, so we got 7 guys. So you're about right. I might
feel
take
like
a couple more guys.
I feel like I could understand if Baltimore got the first pick and they don't take Caleb and keep Lamar. I can understand that philosophy. I could also make the case that go ahead and reset it.
Okay.
Same thing with like when the Colts reset with Andrew Luck versus Peyton Manning.
They wouldn't have done that if Peyton didn't have the neck injury, though.
Well, they wouldn't have. I mean, if Peyton Manning didn't have the neck injury, they don't get the number 1 pick either.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like they chose to do that. They were forced to do that. And because of who their backups were and who they had at quarterback for the season, they didn't have any other options but to get the first overall pick and take Andrew Luck. I mean, it's not genius when you stumble into it, right? Like,
so coming back to the game, Caleb Williams.
Side note, think about this. The Colts have drafted John Elway, Peyton Manning, and Andrew Luck. Think about that for a second.
And how many Super Bowls do they have for that effort?
1. Crazy. Back to college. Sorry, back to college real quick.
Caleb Williams is that dude.
Now, let me ask you this. Hang on, sorry, before you move on from Caleb Williams, let me ask you this. If Colorado, let's say they were being considered an actual national championship contender this season, and they lose that game to USC 48-41 like they did, Shedeur Sanders plays the way that he did, let's be honest, it'd be hard-pressed to not say he might be that dude as well.
I think he is that dude.
He is. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's going to be...
So, Shedeur Sanders is coming back for next season. He's going to be a top 5 pick, if not the number 1 pick next season. And I don't think that's a hot take.
Not now. But when I was talking about that, 6 months ago, people were saying I lost my goddamn mind.
Yeah. Now, again, I think I am still right. If he knew how to use his legs when he should, he would be unstoppable.
He did run more against USC. I think he had like 30 rushing yards, and he even ran one in.
He did.
Right there in the red zone and the goal line.
He needs to do that more because, again, he doesn't have the O-line to protect him. He doesn't have the greatest weapons when Hunter's not playing, right? If he
proved they got some weapons. The weapons are not the problem at Colorado. It's the lines.
Their freshman, who dominated the second half, almost had 200 yards receiving in the second half,
dude.
Makes me go, why the fuck was this guy not playing like the first 4 games of the season?
Because the guys ahead of him are dudes. That's what I'm saying. They got some dudes, but when you don't have lines, they don't have an offensive or defensive line, really. And that's a lot of what Deion's talking about when he says, if I have 6 to 9 more dogs, we're talking about a different story right now. He's talking about that interior.
Right.
If he gets those dogs and that interior,
he doesn't have a consistent pass rusher at the moment. He doesn't have D linemen that can just hold up blocks at the moment. How they've competed at all on defense is pretty surprising at the moment.
But, dude, and I said it and I was always kind of joking because I always thought a bigger program would come calling and he might take it. But the more he vocalizes what he believes and feels, if Colorado treats him right, I could see him staying here long term now and building a superpower. Like, legitimately see that.
I mean,
because he's going to kill recruiting. He's going to absolutely kill recruiting.
I love his line. We aren't hard to find.
Yeah.
We aren't hard to.
That's what he keeps saying. That's what he keeps saying. And then celebrities keep showing up on the sidelines just to watch the games in Boulder, Colorado.
Biggie, you just trolling, bro. He's definitely not going to Michigan State, my friend.
No, he would, dude. Leaving Colorado for Michigan State is not.
There's like 4 schools. Maybe he leaves for, right?
Mel Tucker did that because Michigan State was a better program because they actually cared about their football program. They cared about sports, period. But if CU's really willing to invest in their sports again, and the amount of money that Deion's already bringing into that program says that they're going to, then Colorado's the better place to be because of location.
Right.
Period.
It's beautiful. It's great. Like there's, again, could Deion leave in 3 years for a really big school? Sure he can. And nobody would fault him for doing it. But
at this point,
at the moment,
with what he's doing, what program would you say would be bigger that he would leave for? Because so many people doubted he could do it at Colorado. He's going to do it at Colorado, prove everybody wrong, and then give everybody the finger that comes calling and say, we're just going to run through you. Like, he's going to out-revenge everybody is what I'm thinking.
So there's 2 schools that I feel like I would be like I could say, you know what, I could see him leaving for those 2 schools. And that would be
Florida
Auburn. Not Auburn. I'm sorry. Alabama.
Okay.
Which Nick Saban's got to die for that to happen. Or Florida State.
I don't see him taking the Alabama job because I don't think Deion wants to be in anybody's shadow. He wants to be his own man. He'd rather build something himself than get something that was already established and he's supposed to maintain. Like, that's just not how he rolls. Florida State is interesting, but I've heard there's kind of some bad blood there, and he kind of said as much when he said, I mean, where do I have my degree from? It's an HBCU. It's not Florida State. Like, even he said he's not, a Seminole. So it makes me think, like, the more I listen to him talk and the more I listen to him kind of say what he's trying to accomplish, I might have been wrong about the 3-year thing, man. He might be in this long term to make Colorado something super special.
I will say,
he might succeed doing it, which, oh, man.
Bro, the amount of people watch, like, they've done some economic studies that, like, he has made Boulder so much money.
Dude, it's like 90 million relevant. You're talking about right now.
And then Biggie. Michigan State's not getting Deion Sanders to come there. They're a dumpster fire right now. Like 3 years from now, do they have the amount to offer him? No, like, as much clout as he's gonna have in 3 years, he is not going to poor ass Michigan State. Like, that's not happening. Like, that's just a pipe dream, my friend. I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, it's not. Biggie, Colorado can't pay him that much. I assure you. Their boosters can easily afford it. The thing is Colorado hasn't put money into their sports programs for a long time because of some issues that the sports team had with recruiting trips and things of that nature. So hang on. Because of some issues they had in the mid to late 90s with recruiting and some violations and things of that nature that they went through, Colorado also was voted Boulder the number one party school for a few years in a row. They didn't want that image, and they did everything they could to try and turn themselves into a Harvard of the West, if you will. They really wanted to be an academic school.
That's true.
And it started losing them a lot of money. And they started realizing that opportunity for Deion came up. They are generating so much income that, not even joking, they're now talking about starting their baseball program back up.
Right.
Because of the amount of money that the football program and Deion Sanders is generating right now. This is not going away. Deion's not leaving for a place like Michigan State when he can put a stamp of his own on something. Look, he is literally not joking. He goes out and he wins a national championship at Colorado. He will be considered the greatest coach in that program's history, regardless of the fact that there's another coach that has a national championship. Deion will then be considered the greatest. I assure you. Because of the other things he will do for that school and that program, they will be off the charts.
Biggie, Colorado was nothing for the last 20 years. Absolutely right. In fact, since they moved to the Pac-12, they've really done nothing in the Pac-12 of mention. But the Pac-12 is not really sad that they're leaving, right? You know, it's not a big deal. In the press conference when Deion took the job, the president of the school literally said, "We don't have the money to pay him right now, but we'll get it.
We'll find it." Yeah,
and that's what they're doing. They're finding it. Like they're gonna have it. Deion's getting paid. It's fine. Because again, right now, like 4 of the most watched, like, college football games are CU games.
And Biggie, you gotta understand this. And this is what I think people they weren't prepared for. They didn't understand that I kept trying to explain. Whether people like it or not, Boulder, Colorado is a cool ass city. And it is a college town. No doubt about it. But it's a cool ass city.
It's beautiful.
And it is way easier, I assure you. It is way easier to recruit a kid to Boulder, Colorado with Deion Sanders as the coach than it is Lansing, Michigan with Deion Sanders as the coach. Guarantee you. And I also guarantee you them NIL opportunities at Colorado are going to be a lot greater than they are in Michigan. It's just the way the economics work of the two states. Proximity to coast. Proximity to wealthy billionaires. Like, it just is what it is.
Shedeur Sanders was in, I think it was a KFC commercial with Deion.
Yeah. So, don't get me wrong. I think anywhere Deion goes or would go is going to be successful. But I think Boulder, I think there's a good chance he might turn that into something special.
Back to the game.
Guys, if you know me, I'm like throwing up as I'm speaking. Like, if you know me, you understand I'm not thrilled to say any of these things, but I'm not going to hide from facts. I'm always going to tell you how I really feel. I'm always going to tell you what I really think, regardless of my own bias. And I said I was sick to my stomach when he went to Colorado because he's going to make him good. It just, now I'm starting to believe fully that it's going to be a lot longer than I thought it was, and that's a bummer. That's a bummer for me.
We coming. Now, Deion is just like, everything he's touching right now is just gold. Back to the game. I don't even know what we watched, bro. It was like USC was just dominating.
It was first half USC, second half Colorado, and
they just ran out of time.
It is what it is.
They ran out of time.
That was the game. Like, that's how it went. Colorado, unfortunately, just didn't have as big a second half as USC did a first half. That's what it came down to. They didn't get that one more possession like they needed.
It did show me one thing. As good as Caleb Williams is, as good as that offense can be, they are not going to win a national championship.
It's the same problem Lincoln Riley had at Oklahoma. He doesn't recruit defensively for some reason. He'll get you a quarterback that's going to win a Heisman Trophy and go first overall in the NFL and be damn good. But he doesn't get a defense for some reason that can support that offense to actually be competitive enough at the national title level.
And in college, I don't think your defense needs to be like amazing.
Yeah, it does.
It needs
Alabama and
to be
Georgia over the
good.
last 15 years
Well-
have proven that. Clemson, for that matter, too. Yeah, they had offensive weapons, but they had some nasty defensive boys at the same time.
Yeah, I don't like USC. I don't even know if they make it out of the Pac-12 without losing the game. I think Oregon might beat the shit out of them.
Oregon might be the best team in the Pac-12 for sure this year. That's going to be an interesting game when those two meet up.
And does USC play Washington too?
That's what I'm looking up right now, actually.
I don't think that defense can hold Penix under 45.
I mean, Arizona did, surprisingly enough.
Arizona will come punch you in the face every so often.
It seems that way, doesn't it? It does seem that way. Out of nowhere, they'll rise up. Let's see here. Where are we looking? Apologies. Takes a second to find some of these games. There's USC.
Get better at Google, bro. Get better.
I'm not Googling. There's quicker ways to look this up if you know what you're doing. All right. Oh, dang. USC finishes the season Washington, Oregon, UCLA.
Oh, fuck.
And right before that, they do Cal, Utah, Notre Dame. USC's got a bit of a gauntlet now. Listen to this. So they play Arizona next, who they lost to Washington, but they're competitive. So it's no cakewalk for USC. They're going to have to show up to that game. But then they play Notre Dame, who's currently ranked 10th overall. USC is 9th. Then Utah, who's 18th
Notre Dame
overall.
will run the ball down their throat.
Yep. Then Utah, who's 18th overall. Then they get a bye week basically against Cal. Then they'll play Washington, who's number 7, Oregon, who's number 8, and then they finish with UCLA, who's not ranked, but they are 3-1 right now, and that is a rivalry game for them, so you know it'll be kind of competitive to end the season. So USC's got some tests coming up. Washington, let's see about Washington. So Washington goes Oregon, Washington played this weekend, 1:30 ABC. Penix, Knicks, Washington, Oregon, Huskies, Ducks.
That's the game, bro.
That is the game. Then they have a kind of easy couple weeks. Arizona State, Stanford. Oh, man. But then they play, they finish strong. Then they play USC, who's 9th. Then they play Utah, 18th. Then they play Oregon State, who's 15th. And then they play Washington State, who's 13th. So Washington has a brutal schedule to finish. So that's going to be interesting to watch as well. Let's see what Oregon does here. So obviously they play Washington this weekend, which is going to be really interesting. Then they play Washington State, Utah. Then they get Cal, so they basically get a bye. Then they play USC, Arizona State, and then Oregon State to finish. So all three of these teams, because the Pac-12 is top-heavy and some of these teams are really good, all three of these teams actually finished the season really strong. It's going to be really interesting to see how these finish off, especially those three quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix. That's going to be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's going to be some good stuff, bro. Going to be some good stuff. I don't think it was. I mean, Ole Miss beat LSU, if I'm right. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot from the weekend.
That doesn't sound right. Is that really what happened?
Yeah, LSU lost.
Wasn't it 2 weeks ago that they lost?
No, that was this weekend. I know. I had money on it.
Oh, you did? Oh, you're right. 55-49. Oh, shit. Whew. Who's that running back for Ole Miss? Why can't I think of his name? Let's see.
DB.
Kinshawn Judkins. That dude is a beast, dude. 33 carries, 177 yards, and a tud on the ground.
Yeah. Get ready for the Bama. Oh, I don't know. Bama kind of sucks this year. I was going to say, normally Bama would roll Texas A&M, but Bama kind of sucks.
Let's be honest, though. Jaden Daniels is pretty nice, too, and he'll be coming out this year in the draft. He could be putting his name into first-round contention. 414, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 27 at 36. It's a game, dude. That's a game. So keep an eye on that name, too. You got that Pac-12, then you got Drake May, and then there's some guys kind of floating around, Hartman. You got my boy down.
You got the guy at Florida State?
Jordan, what's his name?
Jordan Travis?
Yes, thank you. Quinn Ewers. You got some other names floating around, but Jaden Daniels is another one to keep an eye on down there.
Some of these guys are going to have to decide, do I come out this year or do I wait till next year?
I think Jaden Daniels has to, unless he wants to use like his 6th year or that 5th year of eligibility for COVID or whatever. But if he keeps playing like this, I can't imagine he comes back. Because you're going to have guys like Shedeur Sanders and whatnot coming up too. That's not going to make it any easier to get that potential number 1 if your team falters or something. So I think Daniels will come out this year along with Caleb Williams. He's going to come out. But I won't lie. Right now, transitioning to the NFL, Pinky, we've talked and joked about how the Cardinals were going to have the first 2 picks of the draft. That ain't happening anymore. But you know what could very well happen real easily, real quickly? The Bears could have the first 2 picks like they do currently right now. That means Justin Fields gone, right? And that probably means if I were the Bears, I'd be grabbing Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, without a doubt.
Right?
Without a doubt.
Right? And then you spend every single dime of free agency money and all your other draft picks on offensive linemen just to make sure you can finally fill all 5 positions efficiently.
I will say.
What side note? Sorry. Big E. The quarterback from Washington, Michael Penix, we're both super high on. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, he's not going mid-rounds, bro. He's not going mid-round.
Now, the kid from Washington State, what's his name? Ward? That dude's very interesting to keep an eye on as well.
Yes,
absolutely, Big E. I will give you absolutely. I'm a big Ward fan.
Aren't we blessed at how many quarterbacks look so good this year coming out of college?
Well, let's be honest. First of all, Big E, I didn't want to mention Ward because I don't want to talk good things about him like I'm feeling right now. So I'm going to kind of try to keep my mouth shut because I don't want him to get cursed. So I'm going to kind of bite my tongue with that guy because I really like what I see as well. So there's a reason I'm not talking about him, okay? I don't want him on my list.
I love Penix.
Not Penix. We're not talking about Penix. We're talking about Ward from Washington State. You need to keep an eye out on him now, Pinky. But I'm gonna not say a lot because I don't want him on my list, okay?
I love Penix.
So do I, and I'm already worried about that. But I digress. If the Bears get the first overall pick and you're Caleb Williams, do you really want to go to that dumpster fire? Like, they'd have to go complete fire sale, right? They'd have to get a new GM, new head coach, and you'd have to pray that they finally picked it correctly.
They're not getting rid of Poles. It's his first year. They're not getting rid of him. It's his second year. Not getting rid of him.
Why not? It's the coaching second year, too, and none of them look like they're doing the right thing.
Eberflus is definitely done. Fuck that guy. He's out.
But why would you keep Poles? He's the one that drafted all the players and gave you what you have right now that didn't work.
He did not. He took over for Pace.
The only thing he didn't.
Poles took over last season.
Right. So basically, the only thing he didn't do is Justin Fields right now.
He's the one that traded the first pick.
I know.
To the Panthers. Like, everything from last season before the draft is Poles.
Yeah, but he did all the same things. Like, he went defense heavy. He didn't really address the offensive line.
He did.
So he did the exact same things.
So,
the only difference is Fields isn't his guy.
Well, again, here's the thing. Kind of sucks for Fields. He has his best game of his career, and they still lose.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Because for some odd reason, the defensive head coach can't get all that supposed defensive talent to play well. And miraculously, the play calling went back to shit in the fourth quarter. Like, the pumpkin hit. Midnight rolled around. Like, I don't know what to say. The glass slipper was left at the top of the staircase. Like, Bears bared. There's no reason they should have lost that game. Zero reason they should have lost that game.
Zero. Absolutely zero. Absolutely zero.
And any Broncos fan who's feeling good about that win needs to get their head checked.
In the third quarter, halfway through, analytics had the Bears at 98% to win that game.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, Pinky, answer this. You already know what I'm going to say.
Sean Payton's gotten pretty good football out of Russell Wilson. Could he get good football out of Justin Fields? Maybe. Is the Broncos and Sean Payton better than where Justin Fields is currently? I think I can say yes to that question.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So, 4th, 5th round pick for him? Sure. You're not losing anything. Like, again, you'd have to make a decision within one season, though, because Fields is in his 3rd season.
You'd have to do it this offseason, and then you'd have to pay him at the same time. Like, you pretty much have to decide that now.
You have to make the decision if you want to give him his 5th-year option, which then again, 5th-year option is still like $25 million for a quarterback.
Yeah,
you can't pay Russ his money and Justin Fields.
You'd have to cut Russ, eat the money, trade for Fields, and then sign him to his 5th-year option and see how the next 2 years play out.
Right. Well, don't worry about backups, Biggie. Backups are backups. Who gives a fuck? Who's your starter? That's what matters. That's what matters. Backups don't fucking matter. They don't. Sure, you can win a couple games here and there. Is it nice that the Colts have Gardner Minshew? Is it nice that the Redskins have Jacoby Brissett? Sure. Do they matter? No. Not at all. Does the Cowboys having Trey Lance really matter? No, not really. So,
I mean, that's a little bit different. Yeah, it kind of does, because it kind of says maybe they're ready to move on from Dak if they see anything from Trey Lance. But it doesn't mean necessarily that the backup is better than the starter.
We can all agree. Trey Lance ain't getting better unless he's playing.
Yeah, you're not touching the field. You're not doing anything. So they'd have to eat a couple years to let him finally play. But I'm with you. Like, no, you're not trading for Justin Fields to be a backup. That's just not happening. You're not doing that this early in his career still. Wherever he goes, he will be competing for the starting job. You wouldn't be keeping Russ if you're trading for Fields, because you would have to do the 5th-year option, because you'd want to see what those 2 years are. Yeah.
You're not gonna do both.
Chicago is such a train wreck. It blows my mind how you can screw it up that bad. Pinky, I don't know what you're gonna say to this, honestly, but as a Broncos fan, I feel the same as what Bears fans feel like right now, and that's exactly how I should feel. There's little to no hope as a Broncos fan right now. If you have hope, if you think this team can do anything, like get to the playoffs, go on a Super Bowl run, you're out of your mind. So the best thing to do actually would be right now, in all honesty, Broncos need to make sure they don't win another goddamn game.
They're not going to the Super Bowl.
That's how I feel. I feel like the Broncos
very
should have pulled the plug and gone tank for Caleb Williams
So-
right now.
The only thing that's possibly a saving grace is you have 7 players right now that within the next few weeks can come back from injury to help out the 32nd ranked defense right now. Do those 7 guys help that much? I don't know. But here's the list. Justin Simmons, Baron Browning, K'Wan Williams, Frank Clark, Josie Jewell, Mike Purcell, and PJ Locke. Justin Simmons matters, obviously. Baron Browning, who had the highest pressure rate of any outside player last season. K'Wan Williams, who can actually guard somebody. Those 3 guys probably matter. But is it enough? I don't know.
So let me ask you this, Pinky. Let me ask you this. This is something I would love to ask the other shows on this network. What about this year after 4 games feels different than last year? In all honesty.
The script is flipped.
What feels different?
The script is flipped. The offense is better. They're scoring more points. The defense is giving up a lot more points. The script is flipped. Last season, it was complete opposite. The defense would hold teams down, but the offense couldn't score anything. We've completely flipped the script.
Okay.
Now, injuries have played a part.
They did last year too.
If Justin Simmons and K'Wan Williams are playing the last couple games, are there that many coverage mistakes? I don't think we see that many coverage mistakes in those last 2 games. But again, we haven't had them. K'Wan Williams hasn't played all season. Baron Browning hasn't played all season. Those guys do matter.
Take off the orange-colored glasses. Do you really feel any different at this point in the season than you did last year?
I mean, I enjoy watching the games more because the offense is better. Like, we want to see points scored.
Okay.
But we're still losing. Yes. I mean, the point is we're still losing.
So last year's offensive issues, who are you blaming that on?
I mean, bro, like, the Hackett's got a lot of blame, bro. A lot of blame.
Give me a percentage.
He's at least 70% to blame.
Okay, give me your pie. So 70% Hackett.
I mean, it might be even more than that. I might be lower in that. Like, Russell Wilson right now is in like top 5 yards. He's second in touchdowns. He's got 200. Like, he's playing at a much better clip because of Sean Payton.
He is.
We scored 30 points one game last season, and that was after Hackett got fired. We've scored 30 points twice this season already.
Yep,
like,
all true.
There's a shift there. The only problem is our defense has completely gone the other direction.
Sure, that's all true. All true. What did Zach Wilson do this last weekend? I'm just curious. What did he happen to do this last weekend?
I can't even explain that.
Let's just call it what it is. Just talk about the one game as an island, okay? What did Zach Wilson do last weekend?
He played okay against the Chiefs.
Okay.
That was not a great game against the Chiefs, bro.
I didn't say it was great, but it
was
played
good.
Okay. It was good.
Okay.
It was good. It was better than okay.
The Jets defense played really good against the Chiefs.
He technically outplayed Patrick Mahomes.
Because Mahomes threw 2 picks.
Well, I'm just saying, okay? So just one game, I get it, on its island. Let's grab it. It's kind of like here, okay? Just give me a second. Hang on. Give me a second. Just give me a second. Hang on. Just give me a second here. So we're just gonna put that kind of right here off to the side, okay? Not in the pile, but just kind of off to the side a little bit. I've called Nathaniel Hackett a bad play caller. I had to slightly rethink my position a little bit after this weekend. Not all the way, but just slightly rethink it. Now, here's the issue at hand that I said last year. I'm going to say it again this year. I don't care. You said it. You just didn't say it. Why is Russell Wilson playing better this year? It's not because of Russell Wilson. It's because of Sean Payton. And because Russell Wilson was told this year, you do what I say or you're not playing. I will guarantee you Sean Payton had that conversation. Last year, I will guarantee you, and I said this a lot last year, people were asking for Nathaniel Hackett's head on a stake, but it was Russell Wilson that had more power than the head coach. Russell Wilson was trying to run a Russell Wilson, what he had in his mind, offense to start the season. Russell Wilson was calling his own plays to start the season because the GM gave the quarterback more power than the head coach. Now, did that change at some point during that terrible run? Maybe. Or did the head coach just become the end-all, be-all, you're out, you're going to be our fall guy, and get walked? Do I think Nathaniel Hackett was ready to be a head coach? No. Do I think he's anywhere close to as bad as it's trying to be made out to be? Hell no. I think Russell Wilson was the main reason why plays weren't getting in on time last year. I don't think anybody will come out and say it because they have to pay the guy and they don't want to throw him under the bus when they're going to continue to pay him right now. But I think he wanted to run his offense. I think Nathaniel Hackett tried to call things. I think Russ kind of said no. I think they argued a lot, and then it caused a lot of issues getting plays in on time. That's what I think happened last year. I think it was an epic disaster that a lot of the blame lands on the GM. So bring that into this year. Russ looks better because there is a figurehead at the top finally. Sean Payton is the organization right now. The GM doesn't matter. The owners brought in somebody that they wanted to basically run everything. Reset. Make sure that the ship was righted. And Sean Payton told Russ, do what I say or walk. Do what I say or don't play. I don't care. I'm Sean Payton. And so because of that, Russ looks a lot more similar to what he did in Seattle, where he didn't have a lot of control either. Now, unfortunately, there have been some injuries, offense and defense. The Broncos have never fully been at full strength, and they're going to continue to deal with those issues. But that's my take on where things really lie right now.
I mean, I'm just at the point where when I watch the Broncos, I don't know how many wins they're going to get because I don't see a lot of wins on their schedule right now. Their defense is going to have to play so much better. And we haven't even got to the really good teams on the schedule yet.
Dude, I still think they're losing to the Jets. I still think the Broncos are going to lose to the Jets.
I'm at the point I would not put money on the game.
Is the offense playing better? Sure. Is the defense ever going to live up to what they should have been? Hell no. They're not going to come anywhere close this season. And I don't blame it on Vance Joseph either. Like Pinky just listed off, the amount of guys that are out on injury and stuff, it is absolutely ridiculous. But I also think, and I'll keep saying this, I have this feeling, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I have this feeling in the back of my mind, kind of that sixth sense, whatever you want to call it, that Sean Payton is a Ron Rivera right now. He's a good guy to come in and right the organization, make it so it's not upside down anymore. But he's not a coach that's going to get you where you want to be in the modern NFL right now. The game has kind of passed him by. That Bill Parcells era, do things my way or run away kind of thing. Like, I don't think he's an offensive genius anymore. I don't think he is. I think guys like the Shanahans, the McDaniels, the McVays, even the O'Connell have passed him by. And it just is what it is. It's not, I'm not trying to say Sean Payton was a bad coach. He's a Hall of Famer. But that's what happens in the NFL. Joe Gibbs was really good for a long time. He came back one last time and thought he was going to be able to do it still, and he couldn't. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great anymore.
If Joe Gibbs had a better owner, maybe that's different.
But you understand what I'm trying to say, right? Like, even Shanahan. Yes, Shanahan had the same bad owner. But even Shanahan, kind of in Washington, couldn't quite get over the hump anymore. He was just kind of, it was his son who took that next step and reinvented kind of that whole thing again that didn't. Not Mike, but Kyle. And then Kyle's tree is kind of blowing up right now in that idea of being able to reinvent and move forward. So I'm not trying to be bad about Sean Payton. I don't think it's necessarily a bad hire because the organization needed some stability, and he's going to give that to you. I just don't think necessarily he's the guy that's going to do all the crazy good things that you were hoping for. And when I see, let's be honest, D'Amico Ryans down in Houston and what he's doing right now and who he hired to be his staff and what he's doing with that young team, when I said that was at the top of my wish list, there was a reason. Could have he done the same things in Denver? Nah, I don't know. It's not the same situation, same comparison.
I don't know, man. He's getting those no names down there on defense playing.
Just saying, Sean Payton was a safe hire. I don't think he was the right hire. But look, Denver is where they are right now because of a lot of bad steps. So they had to make at least one okay one. Maybe not right or wrong, but just middle of the road to start making sure, that road and the foundation of the home and whatever analogy you want to use was done correctly finally.
Biggie, I'm going to touch on your question from earlier. Fantasy-wise, grab Sam Howell. You'll be fine.
Cheers, Pinky. Absolutely. That was all I was going to say.
Zach Wilson looked okay in moments against the Chiefs. Did he really do anything great? He had one touchdown. They held down the Chiefs. Great. Most of that was the defense, not Zach Wilson. So.
Yeah, and let's be honest, the Jets are going to run all day long on the Broncos. That's going to be the majority of that game plan. Whereas you look at Sam Howell and what they do, they don't run a ton. And the beauty of what Sam Howell gets is the Chicago defense. So I said keep an eye out for Sam Howell this year. He's not going to be great, but he's going to surprise some people. He's got the ability to be the next Brock Purdy kind of thing. And with Eric Bieniemy, Washington has some weapons, and they're kind of proving that. They still got Ron Rivera as your head coach. They still got some defensive issues. The offensive line isn't necessarily great, but Washington and Sam Howell could be something.
I would not have thought that they led most of that game and they put up 30 on the Eagles. I would not have.
Right.
Would have not have guessed that.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So take Sam Howell. You'll be fine.
Now, what was this other one that I'm having? Maybe I should know these nicknames, but I just don't. So help me out here a little bit, Pinky, because you'll probably know him.
McCorkle is Sam Howell.
That's Sam Howell?
McCorkle. Yeah, that's Sam Howell. Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, he looks funky as hell in his pictures.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Sam Howell is McCorkle.
Bench start cut. I'm starting Fields. I'm benching McCorkle, and I'm cutting Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Zach Wilson looked fine in 3 drives against the Chiefs. Let's be honest.
He had a good game. I'm still not starting him. I'm not even keeping him if I have the option of the other two. That's just the way it is. Now, if it's Dynasty, I'm stashing him if at all possible. I'm still gonna stash Zach Wilson in Dynasty just because
I'm not gonna stash Zach Wilson anywhere. Fuck that guy.
No, I'm stashing him in Dynasty still if you have the ability, for sure. For sure.
I don't know why people do this, but he's stinky. I don't like him. I want him off my roster.
What else we got from this last week?
Buffalo rolling Miami.
After a disappointing week 1, Buffalo's looked great. Josh Allen looks like an MVP, and they rolled over the Dolphins. Rolled. And they brought Tua and them boys back down to earth. That defense finally looked like what it was supposed to be doing.
I don't know if it was the first quarter and a half. It was 14-14, then it was 21-14, then it was 28-14, and then it's like Buffalo just kept rolling.
Yeah.
So
now that was in Buffalo. So let's be honest. They still got to play down in Miami later in the season. We'll see what happens there.
As long as you don't have to play Miami in September when it's like 100 and some degrees on the field and you've got swamp ass and
wasn't it like 95 in the sun on the field in December last year?
They have their moments, yes.
Yeah, so like I don't think it matters. Like it is what it is. Like we'll see what happens. But Buffalo look really good. They kind of got a run game. Let's be honest. James Cook is getting some touches in that run game, and I think that's really starting to help that offense look more efficient.
He's getting some run. Let's see. We had 49ers rolled.
Dallas rolled. The Patriots.
Bill Belichick, bro. His worst loss of his career.
Yeah, kind of surprising, actually. That kind of surprised me. All things considered, you can have a bad week here and there. The injuries, he had Tom Brady out for a season, right? So that was kind of surprising to hear. Call it right now. After this weekend, wait, before I say this, Joe Burrow should have sat until probably this week.
Yes, absolutely.
Cincinnati's screwed. I fully believe that. I don't think they're making the playoffs, man. I don't think Cincy's going to make the playoffs. If Joe Burrow can't play Joe Burrow ball, he can't make up for that offensive line deficiencies, which means they can't really unleash those weapons that they have on the offensive side of the ball. That defense is still playing all right, but it's being put in bad positions, right? It just kind of is. And so Cincinnati is going to struggle this season with that schedule that they have. I think they missed the playoffs now. Like, I'm going to look early in the season. So, right, we're a quarter of the way through. But I think you can start making some predictions, if you will, based on what you've seen so far. I don't think Joe Burrow ever gets healthy this year unless he sits like a good 6 weeks. And you can't sit him 6 weeks now. Now it's too late. You could have maybe gone 2-2, 1-3 to start the first month of the season and still come back from that with a healthy Joe Burrow. But now, if he has to sit 6 weeks now, you're out of the playoffs. And if he never gets healthy, you're out of the playoffs. So there's no good options now.
That is true. That is absolutely true. I don't know, man. I've watched him. Like, he just doesn't have the ability to throw the deep ball. He doesn't have the time to throw the deep ball.
Well, he doesn't have the time. He can't move like he usually can. And he doesn't have the lower body strength because he can't really push off of the calf like he normally would.
Right. And they can't.
It's just all around bad.
And their O-line can't run the ball either.
Nope. It's never been good at running the ball. They just had the ability to throw it so well that Joe Mixon could get his 3 yards per run. You know what I mean? And they could kind of eat it away over the course of the game because they could throw it so well. But they can't even throw it right now.
Yeah, I was shocked by that Tennessee game. Kind of. Tennessee's got a decent team overall.
We're not shocked by it, but it's kind of like we keep saying it. What is Tennessee? Like, they could be really good or really bad. Like, it's just they're so weird, and they're going to do that all season. It's hard to say what they really are, you know?
Right.
It's just but they also played a backup quarterback, you know, for Cleveland. They didn't get Cleveland's starter, so.
No. They got Deshaun Watson. This week, the backup quarterback played the Ravens.
My bad. That's right. That was the Ravens game. I don't know why I was.
That one, I'm like, I can't even judge that because, like, the backup quarterback.
Yeah. You can't. So
found out
that's
he
where I
was
was going
starting.
with this. I don't know why. My bad. I don't know why I was confusing myself.
Poor
That's
kid
where I was
found out
trying
he
to go with
like
this, actually.
2 hours before the game.
This is Stephen A's top 5 teams in the NFL currently. So he does this every week. It's a fluid list, which I can appreciate because week to week, the top 5 teams can easily change in the NFL, right? This is his top 5 list this week, and this is where I was going with this. I apologize. I don't know why I was talking about Browns-Titans again. It was Browns-Ravens. Top 5 Stephen A this week. As of this week, it's Niners, Bills, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs.
I mean, Ravens are 3-1, and they've got a lot of injuries. I just don't know. I still think I'd put the Dolphins over the Ravens. I still think you match those two teams up. I still think the Dolphins would beat the shit out of them.
So would you bump the Chiefs up to 4 and put the Dolphins at 5?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Ravens, would you move them down to like 6, or would you have them even lower?
I think I'd have the Ravens below the Cowboys.
So Cowboys 6, Ravens 7?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
So I wouldn't hate that, only because the Ravens' schedule has been the Texans, the Bengals, the Colts, who they lost to in overtime, the Browns with a backup
quarterback.
So the Ravens haven't quite played anybody, but you can only play who's on your schedule, right? The Dolphins, though, I could argue, look, you beat the Broncos 70-0, but the Broncos are really bad. Like, plain and simple, okay? You guys are a high-powered offense. The defense has been so-so. You could argue the Dolphins, maybe not. They're kind of in the same boat as the Ravens. And then Dallas, you could be like, look, defense stellar, offense has been so-so. You lost to the Cardinals, who a lot of people said would go undefeated in the loss column, right?
Right.
So all three of those I could see interchangeably. So if you want to put any of those guys at 5, 6, 7,
which it'll be fluid.
I'm good with that.
No.
I was surprised that I would have been cool with the Ravens at 5. I was surprised they were over the Chiefs at 4. That's what surprised me a little bit. But I can see, I mean, even the Chiefs right now aren't playing like stellar, unbeatable ball. So I can see them all kind of right there.
I don't see the Chiefs playing that way. I see the Chiefs playing how they've played. Enough offense. Their defense has played better. Their defense is better this year than any year that Mahomes has played.
Yeah, well, and dude, like, let's be honest. Their last 3 years solid, everybody's been like, oh, this is the year they're going to be kind of be down for this reason and that reason and the other reason. Now, this year they were saying their offense, right? There's going to be issues. No wide receivers, so on and so forth. But Pacheco looks like they might have finally found a run game that Andy Reid likes. And it just takes Mahomes a little bit to get used to some new wide receivers. Last year, people were trying to say the same thing the first 6, 7 weeks of the season, and then all of a sudden they went crazy.
I feel weird saying this. The Chiefs should really trade a 7th-round pick to get Juju back. Because Juju, besides Kelsey, was the consistent guy they can count on a 3rd and 5 to catch a football.
But honestly, I think they kind of are okay. They just need these guys to get some time and some confidence. And I think Mahomes, honestly, dude, this is what I think. I think they're kind of looking at this right now and going, look, Brady won 7 Super Bowls, and only one of those was with elite wide receivers. Only one of them. And that was after he left the Patriots. So we could go out here and we could win 3 or 4 with this wide receiver core and be just fine.
I mean, he had good receivers. He didn't have great receivers.
And that's kind of what the Chiefs have right now, I think. They're just young.
I wouldn't.
Rice and Moore are just young. That's all there is, man.
Moore is not a guy that I would rely on. I do like Rice. So I think as Rice learns more, gets in the offense more, maybe you got something.
I'm just saying, I think that's kind of what they're looking at right now, and I think they're going to be just fine.
Moore is just a jag. He's just another guy.
Okay, well, the Patriots have plenty of those that won Super Bowls for them.
Lot of controversy out of that Chiefs-Jets game on the officiating. And everybody's mad about the Sauce Gardner play.
I knew you weren't. As soon as I saw that, I go, oh, Pinky's ecstatic because he's yelling at the TV right now. Every play you could throw that flag. Every play. That's all that guy does. It's the only reason he's good. That's such a holding that should have been thrown. That's what I heard. Just so we're clear.
But hold on. You're not wrong. But that was the softest hold of his career.
No doubt.
His holds have been so epically bad that you're like, how did that not get called? And the one that gets called is literally the softest hold of his career. And it's holding. It's absolutely holding. But it's the smallest amount of holding he's ever done. And all of his other ones have not gotten called. Now, my issue goes back a couple plays before that. So intentional grounding that Saleh is calling for. And Mahomes is in the pocket. He throws the ball 8 yards short of a wide receiver, and they say the guy is in the area. No, he's not in the area. He's 8 yards down the field. Like, that doesn't count. So now, even in the Eagles game last year, Mahomes is the face of the NFL. You have to be able to deal with those situations. You're not going to get the calls. You're not. Right, wrong. At the end of the day, the Jets didn't do enough to beat the Chiefs. Period. Did those calls come at bad times? Sure. But they didn't do enough to beat the Chiefs. Period.
I agree with you. Cheers. Cheers. I fully agree with you on that take. That's a great take.
Again, the one that everybody's mad about is the holding call that was a holding, and not the intentional grounding that was absolutely intentional grounding that didn't get called.
Sure.
So that's the one that I was like, I'm pretty sure that ball was nowhere near that wide receiver. That's intentional grounding. He threw it into the ground, and that receiver is 8 yards in that direction. But if I remember right, it's got to be within like a 5 yard, circle.
A little bit closer. A little bit closer. You'd like to see it a little bit closer if they're going to not call it, for sure. All right, Pinky, first quarter of the season's done. What is your takeaway from the first quarter of the season? One takeaway. Not a couple. We're just going to limit it to one. What's your one takeaway from the first quarter of the season that you would put out there?
Well, the two teams in the NFC look really good in certain aspects.
What two are you talking
49ers are rolling. 49ers are just rolling.
Okay.
They're just rolling. Brock Purdy's playing good football. Christian McCaffrey
really good football. Really good football.
Really healthy. That dude is just really good at football. And I don't think the 49ers defense has even played that great right now. So, like, they could be better. And then Philly's sitting there undefeated, and they haven't even played great football as a whole. Like, their defense is still in shambles. They've got some injuries and things that they're dealing with. But they're still 4-0. Like, if you haven't played your best football and you're still 4-0, that's pretty good.
Agreed. This is mine. And I would listen to arguments against it, but I would have to look at you a little bit sideways after everything we've seen and wonder if it's just a bias that you're arguing against it. If Aaron Rodgers is playing right now, the Jets are far and away the best team in the NFL.
No.
Yep. I don't think it's a question.
No. Are they a really good team in the NFL? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I don't think he would be completely on the same page, and their O-line is definitely not good enough to where he would just be dominating.
Oh, so they would be destroying people right now. They would have smoked Buffalo first week. They would be undefeated right now. They would have beat Kansas City last week. They would have beat them bad. They would have beat them bad last week.
Okay, so I will agree with you in that aspect that they would have beat the Chiefs last week if Aaron Rodgers was playing. I don't know that they did win against the Bills. I don't think they beat them badly.
Right now, this would be the narrative in my mind. Jets offensive line starting to come together. Aaron Rodgers MVP form. Garrett Wilson, Offensive Player of the Year candidate. Run game absolutely dominant. Defense playing at an all-time level. That's what I think people are saying right now with the Jets if Aaron Rodgers is playing.
So I would take that narrative and move it like to week 9 or 10. Because I just don't think they would have been all on that same page. Maybe are they undefeated or 3-1? Sure. I'm not saying they're the best team in the NFL because I still think they would have had some struggle.
I think what people are talking about with the Niners right now, what people are saying about the Niners offense, I think people would be saying about the Jets defense. And I think people would be saying the Jets offense is improving at an exponential rate, that the Jets offense is better than the Niners defense. And that's why I think people would be talking about them as the best team in the NFL right now. So that's my storyline from the first quarter of the season. And I know it's not the first people. We understand it's not the first quarter, technically speaking, because there's 17 games now, okay? But you got to be able to make some breaks somewhere. So we'll do 4-4-4-5, okay? How about that? That's what we'll do. Easy. Calm down. We know it's not exactly a quarter. Jeez.
So I won't say you're crazy with that take. I'm just not going to completely agree with it at this point.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm still going to look at you a little bit sideways because, but I get it. I get it.
The games would be different. Situations would be different. Could they be 3-1? Could they be undefeated? I would absolutely agree with that. I still don't know if I'd call them the best team in the league because of that at this point.
That's fair.
So,
couple highlights from this coming week. Let's just do. We won't run through every game like we do at times. Let's just kind of some highlights from the Pinky's mind.
I mean, the Chiefs could stomp out the Vikings for the season. Vikings going to 1-4 seems like a pretty big hole.
It would end their season for sure, and I think the Chiefs win. But let's be honest, the Vikings could surprise us and beat the Chiefs. Like that would be something where we're like, oh my god, that happened. We'd be like, well, yeah, that happened.
I don't think I'd be shocked by that.
We'd be surprised, but we wouldn't be shocked. Like we'd be like, oh, but yeah.
We've got some turds. You know, Jets Broncos is kind of a turd. Bears Commanders on Thursday night's kind of a turd. Jaguars.
I'm actually really excited to watch that game Thursday. Now, I am a known Justin Fields lover. Like, no hiding that. I like Washington's offense, and I'm very curious about it because of Eric Bieniemy running the show. So I like watching the weapons. I think they got a lot of weapons. So I'm interested to see what they do week to week. So I am interested to watch that game. I don't think it's as big of a turd as you might think. I'm surprised you're saying that as a football fan because yes, Thursday nights can be really bad games. But there's been some really good ones, and I could see that being a surprise good one.
I think the Commanders are going to win that game, and I don't think it's going to be close.
Fair.
And I think that D-line will consistently put pressure on Fields, which the Broncos didn't do till the second half of that game.
Okay.
Like, Fields did amazing. He looked great. He was 16 of 16. He breaks the Bears' all-time record if he doesn't throw a Hail Mary. All facts. But that first half, he had no pressure. He had guys running wide open. The normal issue he's had is he's under pressure and guys are covering. He's going to be under pressure against Washington. I don't see this going well.
Did the first half at least give you pause to say if he was in a better situation, I could finally see a glimpse of somebody who could be a passer?
No, I didn't see anything special because like he literally hit the wide open. The guys were wide open. He wasn't throwing into windows. He wasn't throwing dudes open. The guys were literally running through the zones wide open, and he had no pressure.
He was putting it on them, though. They weren't having to stop to catch it.
Every quarterback in the league with no pressure on him can typically hit the open guy. So I didn't see anything like special in the game that made me like change my opinion. Again, under a different scheme, a different guy, I still think he could be successful. That could be a case. But I like playing that shitty of a defense didn't say anything. It didn't help.
That's fair.
Right? Because
What
again,
else we got?
When they changed it up, they brought pressure and he didn't have guys wide open. The whole second half, he didn't do anything.
I mean, Chicago didn't adjust either, so there's
Right.
that. Again, the coaching staff screwed him, but okay. I get it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So
Pinky,
Jags
you're not
Bills.
wrong.
Oh, well, I'll take that any day. I'll take that any day. Jaguars Bills in London.
That is interesting because we said
the
doing our
Jags would
schedule,
win this game.
Jags win that game because back-to-back weeks in London, they're prepared. I don't feel nearly as good about the Jags as I did before the season started.
There is no way they win this game. Somehow they can't run the football. Travis Etienne, poor guy, he has nothing to run, like no holes to run through. Trevor Lawrence, somehow, like with the addition of Calvin Ridley, it hasn't helped. Like,
yeah, it looks like they've regressed a little bit, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Well, Doug Peterson's offense is about running the football. It's about running the football, and they can't run it.
Yeah.
They can't run it.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the Bills are about to run through the Jags this week. So that's going to – but a game I will pay attention to because I am interested. I think it will be could potentially be a shootout. Also could be a blowout for the Bills.
Bills are going to roll. It's a 7:30 game. That's what I'm excited about because it's the only game on. I do enjoy that when there's only one game on.
Side note, I know a lot of people last week are talking about how the Pixar Disney Plus game of the Jags and the who did the Jags play? Falcons. Thank you. There were some glitches. They saw some issues with it. They were trying to knock it because it's Disney and people don't blah, 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 blah. I thought it was awesome. As a first time doing something, and the fact that it was all animated, the way they did like the claws, the ball spotter, and Slinky Dog as the first down marker.
The technology is not quite there because it wasn't perfect a majority of the time. Sometimes it was perfect. Sometimes it was not. Was it a bad experience? No, it was still fun. But I watched it till halftime on Disney Plus, and then I switched to the actual game.
I hope they keep doing it. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really well thought out. Yes, the technology might have had some issues, but that'll just get cleaned up over time the more you do it. And the concept was just really cool. So I hope they keep doing it. Side note, sorry. London, Bills. What else we got, Pinky? Is there anything else we need to be kind of paying attention to?
I mean, Dolphins are going to roll the Giants. Lions will probably roll the Panthers. Ravens will probably roll the. I mean, it's a bit. I don't know if they'll roll the Steelers, but they should win against the Steelers. Saints, Patriots. That one's interesting. Patriots
Derek
are
Carr is
favored.
supposed to play, so I think the Saints will be just fine.
Patriots are favored because it's at home.
That doesn't make any sense regardless.
Texans, Falcons.
So let's talk about this for a second because this is something I wanted to discuss. And I kind of mentioned it earlier. Texans got it right with DeMeco Ryan. DeMeco Ryan got it right with his staff because, and I didn't look it up on purpose because I'm going to just kind of wait and continue to admire the job they're doing before I learn the guy's name. But whoever the offensive coordinator is right now in Houston is doing a marvelous job play calling with Stroud. Just, mwah. Oh my Lord. And I should know his name. I absolutely should. I'm not going to deny that. But the fact that I don't want to go look it up yet because I just want to keep admiring without learning anything about the guy right now.
I'm pretty sure they brought San Francisco's QB coach.
I don't want to learn anything, Pinky. I just said it. I don't want to learn anything about the guy just yet. I want to just to keep admiring the job this guy is doing play calling for a rookie quarterback with a young team. I told you to pay attention to Nico Collins. That dude is going off right now with Stroud. Their run game looks strong. Their offensive line might be top 5 in the league. I know that sounds crazy, but it might be top 5 in the league.
Bobby Slovic is the OC, and he was the 49ers QB coach.
Let's learn now. How long has he been with Shanahan? Did he come from Washington like everybody else?
I don't know. I don't know about that, but he was under Shanahan in San Francisco.
It makes perfect sense. DeMeco Ryans a smart dude.
Falcons at home are 2-point favorites. I am hammering the Texans.
I would take the Texans as well. I fully agree with you.
Points. They're going to beat the Falcons.
But I will say this. If the Falcons had found a way to still keep their draft pick and get Bijan, but had gotten somebody like Lamar Jackson in trade as well, the Falcons we could be talking about right now as a potential dark horse Super Bowl candidate.
It's all Desmond Ridder, bro. Desmond
Ridder.
He's not,
don't get me wrong, he is not bad. He's not like some bust. He's not playing terrible football, but he's not a guy that's moving the needle, and he's not playing football that's going to win the game for you.
What's the most important thing for a quarterback? Being efficient on third down, and he is fucking awful on third down.
It's not been great, especially when it's a known passing down. Now, he hasn't been turning the ball over, which is good, but he just hasn't been putting his team in position to win.
I watched the Jacksonville game, Disney Plus, then watched it when it switched over. You ride Bijan 20-20. He's your best playmaker. No problem. They get in the red zone, they fucking take him out. He's your best offensive weapon, and you're taking him out in the red zone.
Well, here's the other thing. I like Arthur Smith, but he's not doing a lot of game planning in the passing game to help Pitts and London either, which I think are also weapons. So
and Bijan's amazing in the passing game. So
I know, but Algiers a great runner too. So there's no reason not to give him.
Algiers not bad, but it's literally every time they get in the red zone, they immediately take Bijan out and put Algier back.
I get it. So this is definitely a game to watch. We're both on the same page there.
Titans Colts. Don't touch that game. Bengals Cardinals. I'm kind of with. I think it was Biggie who mentioned earlier. I think I'd take the Cardinals in this game. It's at home.
I could see that happening. Could easily see that happening. Yep. I
mean, the Bengals lose. The only game they won was to the Rams, and they lose that game if Stafford doesn't throw 2 awful picks.
For sure.
Eagles Rams. That's probably the second most interesting game of the weekend.
No, that Falcons game is more interesting to me than Eagles and Rams. The Eagles are going to smoke the Rams, dude.
Rams have played fairly good football. Eagles
they haven't played anybody great, though. They're playing the Eagles, who are starting to hit strides. You can see it. You can see those wheels turning with the Eagles every week, just slowly getting better and better.
Well, their offense is getting better. Their defense has some injuries on the back end that are making things difficult.
They're going to run through the Rams. They'll double and triple Puka, and that'll be it.
Then we have got we'll talk Packers Raiders. Packers are only 2.5 favorites. I think I would smash that.
I like that.
I would smash that. I don't think the Packers are going to lose to the Raiders.
No, Packers are definitely winning by at least a touchdown, I think.
Game of the weekend. Probably need to reach out to SP and be like, hey, bro, let's get together. Let's watch this game. Cowboys 49ers.
That's going to be a good game.
And I'm going to say this, and this is just Cowboys are making the playoffs. I think that's an easy estimation.
Yes.
But the Cowboys need this game to have confidence to be able to beat San Francisco in the playoffs. They've played
I think
2
it's even
straight
more
years
than
in a
that.
row.
I think they need this game to have a shot at home field advantage for the playoffs, which I think they desperately need.
I think they need that. It definitely wouldn't hurt. But
here's the thing, though. What did I tell you about San Fran last week that you were a little nervous about? And I said, don't worry about it.
That's a long time ago, bro. I don't remember.
The spread. I told you, don't worry about it. They'll cover that. It's not a problem. This might sound crazy to some people, but based on what I've seen so far this year, I like San Francisco by 10 plus this weekend.
I don't know about 10 plus.
Just telling you what I'm feeling.
I still think the 49ers are going to win. The 49ers are favored. They're at home. 49ers are going to win.
All right. Pinky, final thoughts for the week, my guy.
Oh, man. God, we're already 4 games in, man. Why does it have to go so quick?
Goes
It has
fast.
to go so quick. Final thought. NBA Media Days. Joker. If you haven't checked it out, God, every time he does media, I love him more and more.
Yeah.
Because the media will ask him the questions aren't always bad, but some of the questions he's just like, no, I don't fucking care. Like, it's so funny to see a guy like literally not care. They asked him about like his thoughts on something, and he was just like, I don't know, I just want to win. Like, what can he do? Like, what more accolades or things can he do? And he was just like, I just care about wins. That's all I want. And then they asked him about like CU and Deion Sanders. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
I don't know. I'm a guy from Serbia. Like, I don't know.
I love it.
I found that
hockey's close, basketball's close. We're getting there.
Hockey's we got a week. We got a week till hockey kicks off.
Yep.
Be interesting. The Avs had a decent off season. I mean, Avs are gonna be a pretty good team as long as Miko, Makar, and McKinnon play. Like, as long as those 3 dudes are playing, they're gonna be pretty good.
Sure. So we'll see what happens with all of that. My final thought is the first quarter of the NFL season has once again taught me that anyone and everyone, literally anyone and everyone that talks about football knows nothing. And I don't know about where you guys get your information. I don't know who you listen to, who you like to read, whatever it is. I will tell you, if you get anything from us, I can assure you our opinions, our thoughts, our feelings are done with legit research, honest and thoughtful opinion, and we will do our best to eat crow when the time calls for it, and we appreciate any love when it's deserved. And college football is just fun, and continue to watch these quarterbacks roll, because it's going to be fun to see who gets drafted where come April.
The quarterbacks that are technically eligible for this year's draft, if they all came out, I feel like would be the closest thing to 83.
Yes.
That we've had.
Absolutely. I agree. Cheers, Pinky. I agree. So that's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. As always, and Clayton, you're my guy. Clayton, you are my absolute guy. We appreciate all the love and support. The likes, shares, the X's, the posts, the comments, the interaction. I know a lot of people say it. It's cliche, and we have no way to prove it or make sure you understand how much we truly mean it. But it means the world to us. We appreciate it. And if there's anything we can do to continue to, keep our fandom growing in the right direction, let us know. On that note, do not ever take advantage of those loved one times, that inner circle, that family, that friends, whoever you want to be around and be close to. When those moments come to spend that quality time with them, cherish them, jump on them, and never let them go. Appreciate all you guys. Love you, Pinky. You're my boy. We're out.
I'm empty. Drink it all.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.